today I will be talking about skincare comparison where I compare current name brand skincare versus Sephora brand collection. So here's a little scenario for you. So imagine yourself, you're at the lovely beach, you're walking on the golden sand, hearing the waves crashing along the beach, and it's just a beautiful day. After a beautiful day at the beach, you decide you're a little hungry, so you head over to a restaurant where they either serve a bowl of bread or a plate of chips, whichever you please. But since these are handheld appetizers, you're gonna have to wash your hands. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is wash your hands. But what if you don't? What if you continued your day on and you didn't wash your hands after doing all of that? Let's just say now you're in an Uber and who knows when the last time the seats or the door has been cleaned, so now your hands are even more contaminated. And then it continues and now you're back at home and you're touching all these surfaces like your remote control, your handheld of the fridge. You're probably thinking, ew, this is really gross. I need to wash my hands or sanitize right away. But let's just say you didn't do it until the end of the day. This can compare to how it is when we go through the whole day without washing your face or properly taking care of it with skincare. And how would I know? Because I used to be like this before the research. My face would feel really gross throughout the whole day and I would feel like, how can I fix this? So a little bit of context is I used to know skincare when I became like around a teenager, but I really started getting engaged with skincare when it came to social media. Nowadays, skincare is a very viral sensation on social media platforms such as TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, and here's an example. There are Get Ready With Me's, which are on a lot of platforms where people encourage others to use skincare, showcase these viral products, and it just really has made skincare become super significant when it comes to audiences. So just because skincare has been known for its pretty packaging and pretty looks, there's so much more than that, just the pretty looks. For example, the importance of skincare, according to Busalamani, human skin is the most exposed organ when it comes to external environments, and it's the first line of defense against external chemicals and threats. So with knowing this information, the use of skincare can help strengthen that defense, and if you don't use proper skincare or take care of your face, it can weaken your skin and lead to more damaging effects. So when I started getting into this research, one of the first new things that I learned is that not all skincare is used for every skin type. I thought like when I saw something online, I was like, oh, this one's very popular, millions of people bought it, so why not try it out? But it doesn't work for everybody's skin type. So for example, the first skin type, these are the 5 main categories, and the first one is oily, which this means like your whole skin feels oily, and then number 2 is dry, which is your skin is dry and there can be like rough patches along your face. Number 3 is sensitive, which can be prone to irritation, redness, and burning. Number 4 is normal, which is not too oily or not too dry. And number 5 is combination, which is a mixture of oily and dry. And the reason why I highlighted it in blue is because that is my skin type that I identify with myself. So identifying my skin type, I use the 2 methods presented by Sarah Vey. The first one is the watch and wait method. This method is where I use a cleanser, which is the one pictured here, the Renewing SA cleanser. And I just washed it, and then after I dried, you see where the parts of your face are shiny, and for me it was the T-zone area, which is the forehead to the nose, and the chin area, so that contributed to signs of combination skin type. And then for the second method, I used the blotting sheet method, which you also apply the same application of the cleanser, and then you see like after 30 minutes to an hour, you see you pat the blotting sheet, and wherever it came up oily, which was the same, the T-zone and the chin area, that contributed to my final conclusion that I had combination skin type. So now, knowing my skin type, I wanted to see what I can specifically research that has not been covered yet, and that leads to my gap, which here are 3 main sources that kind of like summarize what was already out there. So there was a lot of skincare research where it compared highly expensive versus cheap skincare. There were highly viral products just by itself. And then when I started looking into the Sephora website, it kind of got me inspired to look into the Sephora collection line. I noticed a lot of people shop at Sephora, but not a lot of people shop at Sephora collection. So I wanted to definitely incorporate that into my research, and then I said, why not compare that to highly viral popular skincare, since that wasn't really covered yet. And some people did review Sephora collection, but it was never comparing, so that's what I wanted to do for my research. And since most of the research didn't really target skin type, I definitely wanted to incorporate that to target my combination skin type, so those who have combination skin type can also relate. So this concludes my research question, which is how does the usage of current highly rated popular skincare compare to the Sephora collection line when it comes to combination skin type? strategy was developmental research, where I tested 10 products from the Sephora collection line and the popular brand on my face. I created like an invisible boundary line in the middle of my face, where my left side, your right, is where I put the highly viral popular skincare, and then my right, your left is the Sephora collection line. And I chose to do a month process because I figured it would be enough time to compare and contrast results and have it detailed, but it's still a short amount of time, so I can analyze each result. And that took place from January 14th to February 14th, 2025. So one of the key sources that I used when it came to this research was the Sephora. Sephora is one of the highly worldwide ranking stores when it comes to skincare. There's a lot of products that people can access for their skincare brands. It's a trusted website, and it was very easy to get access to. So this was definitely a big help when it came to picking out my skincare and seeing key ingredients. So here are my highly rated popular brands. I do have some displayed in front of me. I only bought the core 5, which is the ones I use every day. All these, in the exact order it is the order that I use for my routine, except for the ones that I would only use in morning and night. For example, number 1 is the oil-based cleanser. I only use that at night because that's what it was recommended to. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 was the products that I use every day, and the ones laid out here in front of me. I use that both in the morning and the night in that order. Number 7 was the SPF, which I only use in the morning because it was recommended to use in the morning and not at night for SPF. Number 8 was only used at night, which was the lip mask. Number 9 was the exfoliant, which I only use every other day because I noticed that it was like irritating and drying out my skin. So in order to have a perfect balance, I did every other day instead of every day. And then number 10 was the face mask, which I only used on Tuesdays and Fridays because that was the recommended time, and I figured Tuesdays and Fridays would be the best spacing to use the products. And here's the same thing, but with Sephora collection, I have the list of products and all the images of what the products look like. So when going into this research, I knew I definitely wanted to collect data on like some kind of notes. So I did it on Google Document, and I collected qualitative data. Here's an example of my Appendix A, which showcases week 1. And on these notes, I just wrote key highlighted points, whether it was like positive or negative, seeing if any products stood out to me that day, and if there was anything reacting to my face. And I just did highlighted products to make sure it wasn't over excessive information and to help conclude to my conclusion. So I also did an imaging analysis where this was my part to start from January 13 to 2025. So before I started this research project, I did not do any skincare. I would not have a routine. I wouldn't do a daily skincare application. I would maybe do cleanser or a moisturizer like once every week whenever I just felt like my skin needed it. And I was very uneducated when it came to skincare, so my face was really in like a poor condition state before the start. So this is what it looks like before. For week 1, I have the beginning of the week, middle of the week, and end of the week on all slides. But for week 1, my highlighted data collection from this week was on the highly popular skincare side. There was like a lot of stinging, a lot of red bumps forming, and my face was getting used to the products because, like I mentioned, I never used products before, so my face was highly reacting to it. And on the Sephora collection side, it started off with a lot of irritation and itchiness as the week, but as the week progressed, it got better. And the highlighted product for this week was the exfoliant because my face has never used a product like this, so the active ingredients was really reacting to my skin. For week 2, the highly popular side, the products began to dry out my cheek, and acne started forming around the mouth area, as you can see in the image. And the exfoliant face mask wasn't stinging my face anymore, so my face did get more comfortable with that. In the Sephora collection, the cheek was also extremely dry, even more than the highly popular side. The moisturizer caused the cheek to burn rather than hydrate, and the lip mask started to feel like it was just sitting on my lips and not really helping. But later in the week, the moisturizer did begin to help ease the dryness. For week 3, which was from January 30th to February 3rd, the highly popular side, the cheek did not feel as dry anymore. It was actually becoming smooth, which was a good sign. I noticed the exfoliant has also dried out the skin, but also worked effectively to decrease the pimples. And some acne bumps started to form near the forehead as pictured in the image. And on the Sephora collection side, this week was the checkpoint of where my skin finally got comfortable with all the usage of products. So that kind of shows that it took a little while for my skin to get used to it, but it was definitely comfortable. There was no extra irritation or stinging. And my eyelid did start to become dry, and my lips are also becoming dry towards the end of this week on the Sephora collection side. For week 4, from February 4th to February 10th, this is kind of where it got bumpy on the highly popular side. This week was the checkpoint, though, of my face fully being used to the product, so that kind of concluded that the Sephora collection side was easier for my skin to get used to than the highly popular side, and that could be based on the ingredients. However, I was beginning to break out on the popular side with pimples forming near my forehead and near my nose. And the Sephora collection side, my skin was also impacted by a huge pimple. The pimple formed in the middle near my forehead and one near the nose. But with the application of the skincare products, it started to slowly reduce over time, especially with the use of exfoliator. And for week 5, which is my final week, taking place from February 11th to February 14th, the highlighted product would definitely be the serum. I was getting more compliments as people told me my skin looked more glowy, so that the serum was definitely helpful for this week. And there were tiny bumps starting to form near my forehead and rapidly multiplying as pictured in the beginning of the week. And my face was starting to flush again with the use of exfoliator. For the Sephora collection, this week was a very calm week. There wasn't really any extra irritation or redness or no like significant positivity for it. It was just like very normal state with the use of it, which shows that my face was getting used to the Sephora collection. So after all of my data analysis, I concluded that skincare products work more effectively depending on the correlation of ingredients with what skin type conditions one may have. I thought my conclusion was going to be like something like, oh, the highly expensive products would work significantly better because of the ingredients, but it really depends on, it was more not like, oh, this one is better than this group of one. It was more like each product was better than one of the other because the ingredients matched more with my skin type. And for example, with the conclusion came limitations and implications. For example, number 1 was no huge physical difference. Like I mentioned before, I thought there was going to be like, oh, like the highly popular side, for example, was going to be so much more better than the generic brand because it had higher quality ingredients. But there wasn't really a big physical difference when it came to the categories. It was more like this product may have been better on this side, but that product was better on the other side. So that definitely detoured my conclusion of what I originally thought it was. And number 2 is the limited amount of skincare to choose from. This was one of my biggest limitations because since I was comparing such a highly like brand that had multiple brands that I could choose from versus one line, I thought it was kind of hard to compare both products with the similar ingredients because I didn't want to just compare products like, oh, one has exotic fruits in them, but the other one has highly harsh chemicals. So I wanted to make sure that both products had a similar ingredient so it would be a fair test. But since I was also just comparing it from Sephora collection, there wasn't that many products to choose from that could target my specific skin type, which I feel like it detoured my conclusions in a way. If I could choose products that targeted my combination skin type, it could have probably resulted in better conclusion. And number 3 was targeting of notes. This was more of a personal limitation. I kind of wish when I went into the research more, I could have researched better note taking and focused more on the products themselves. Because I was thinking about more of like, oh, my face difference in the structure, but I kind of wish I focused more specifically on which products was breaking me out and like focus more into detail on that. So now that I know that for future references and future research, I can take better notes and make sure I'm more detailed with it next time. So my big takeaway from this research is the skincare significance and skin type. Even though I didn't really get like if the expensive one was better or the cheap one, it kind of showed me a bigger lesson, which was that skincare is really important for one's face. With the use of skincare, it can really protect your skin and make it healthy and clean. And by knowing your skin type, it will help choose what skincare products is best for your skin type. Because not every skincare product is fit for one's face, and every skincare routine is built different based on your skin type and your skin conditions. So thank you.
Okay. What was one obstacle or challenge you encountered while implementing your research method, and how did you address it?
I think one of the obstacles when applying my research method was making sure that it was the right research method. I approached with the developmental research because I wanted to test the products myself and on myself in order to get the best results. And I think when I finally finalized that I was doing developmental research, I went the best route that I could because I was engaged with it and also produced the best results in helping myself and the conclusion to promote to the audience.
Thank you.
How did you decide what piece of evidence was going to be presented first?
I think when I started doing my presentation, I wanted to make sure it was like organized, structurally organized. So when I looked back at my presentation, I think the best way to start off was to engage the audience with a scenario and then shift it into my skincare topic instead of just like jumping right into the skincare topic. So yeah, that's what I chose best.
Which part of the research process did you find the easiest? Was this something you were anticipating would be easy?
I think the easiest part of my research was actually probably, I think it would actually be finding the pre-research, like my skin type, and like starting off like what information I needed to introduce the topic. I think this was probably the easiest because there was actually like quite a lot of like sources out there that helped me get to know what skincare really is and how significant it is. And once I started having that information, the research process went so much easier after that because I was informed and educated with what I needed to use for this research, and the process went smoother from there.
Any other questions from the audience, or just any other questions?
I have another question, but I have to phrase it very carefully, but I think you'll get it. Did your monthly hormone changes affect your skincare?
I think it kind of did, because like there was one part where I felt like my skin was just rapidly increasing, and it was like, I'm pretty sure it was week 4, and I was like, how come it's like rapidly when my skin got used to the products? So I think it could have like affected it more, but it didn't affect it as much. So
In the future, would you add a component for that in your research, or no?
I think so. If maybe like I had more time,
Yeah.
or if I were to like reflect back on it, yeah, I would definitely include that.
Thank you very much.
Any questions at all?
Just from the start, you talked about it a little bit on the start of the presentation. So how much did social media influence you wanted to do this project?
I think that was basically the start of how I wanted to start this research, because I would always watch these videos and I would be like, is these products actually worth buying, and is it like worth the hype? So social media definitely influenced me to start this project, and since I'm so like revolved around